Okay, so this is what we call as soil auger. Okay.
Kenapa dia panggil apa?
Okay, so kalau you nampak sini, dia around 20 cm. We can make sure that we just take the soil at the top soil layers, which is the important part of the layers, soil layers lah. We don't want at the bottom part of the soil. Okay, so this is what we call as soil auger. If you see my lab manual, we have a few types of soil auger depending on dia punya soil. Ada tanah jenis keras, we cannot, kita tak boleh pakai yang hujung dia macam ni. Okay, ada yang macam bentuk screw. Okay, so that screw kita boleh guna untuk soil yang lebih keras. Okay, so usually kita akan pilih selections of the sampling site. Okay, for example here, okay, if you see here, the locations are not being disturbed. So kita tak boleh ambil kawasan yang tepi jalan macam tu. Okay, kalau kat tepi jalan it is disturbed. The soils might be affected by the sun, by the heat, by orang yang lalu lalang. So might be what we want to measure, it is not very correct. Okay, so here it is a not disturbed soil. Okay, so macam mana kita ambil tanah ni? Turun bawah sikit. Okay. Okay, so kita akan tolak dia macam ni. Selalunya laki yang kena buat perempuan dia susah sikit lah. Sebab saya lebih kurang tinggi ni je. Okay, so kita akan tolak dia. Nampak tak? Sini.
Ada rumput kan?
Tak rumput sikit.
Taklah, bang dengan akal kan payah nak masuk.
Okay, contoh kan. Contoh je ni saya tak dapat ambil full. Okay. Ni contoh contoh, tapi sebenarnya nampak? Sebenarnya you have to take the soil sampai you tolak dia ke dalam and it will fill the whole of the parts here. So baru you tahu that is 20 cm. Yang saya ambil ni about 10 cm sahaja from the top of the soil. So should be you ambil 20, you tolak dalam lagi. Okay, but saya nak demonstrate, I just want to demonstrate to you how we should take the soil. First, the soil sampling area has to be correct, which is not being disturbed. Okay, so then you take the soil auger and take the soil 20 cm, penuhkan maksudnya baru you tahu, you keluarkan the soils is in the correct depth. Okay, okay, tu saja. Nanti kita sambung sekejap. Tu je lah. Sekejap saya gerak ke sana. Sekejap boleh. Okay, ada soalan tak nak tanya? Your lab manual. Buka lab manual. Agak tinggi contoh je. Okay. So just now I have demonstrated to you, okay, on how we want to take the sample. Okay, so taking the samples is have to be the correct way. If you can see from my lab, a few justifications. First, you are not allowed to take samples at area which is being disturbed. Number two is the sampling strategies, okay, of how you are taking the samples. For examples, if you take the samples by using grid sampling. Okay, grid sampling yang saya tunjuk dekat dalam lab manual tu, you can see it is designed well dalam bentuk petak-petak tu kan, in a box. But another one is you have what we call as random sampling, meaning that you go and select the site randomly. Okay. Okay, next, okay, when after we take the samples, okay, we move to our second objective, which is to determine the content of soil moisture. Okay, as I mentioned to you, soil moisture is very important. Okay, kita dah belajar last week how you want to determine the soil moisture. Soil moisture is expressed in what unit? Sarah, what is the unit of the soil moisture content? We need that, the water content. Sarah tak ada. Shairin?
Percentage.
Okay, very good. In percentage. So, okay, for examples. Okay, so dah berada di lab. Okay, ni adalah sampel yang saya ambil. Assume that yang tadilah. Tapi yang ni dah sampel dah kering. Okay, when you take the samples, you have to label the sample correctly. Okay, for examples here, nama tanah saya adalah tanah asal. And the depth of the samples, because usually in soil science we will take the soil at two different depths. One is 20 cm. Okay, jadi tadi saya korek I dig the hole. Okay, so the first top layers are 20 cm. So we take another samples, okay, at the same hole but deeper. Sebab tadi kita ambil sampel dia dah buat lubang kan. Okay, the same hole kita masukkan the soil auger inside and we take another sample which we label as 0 to 40 cm, which is the subsoil. Okay, then we label the name of the soils, and we also have to label the date of when we the samples. Okay, for examples, today is berapa bulan hari ni 10 9 10 of November. So you have to label your samples correctly. That is how you take the samples. Okay, then assume that this is a wet samples. Okay, so we will bring this wet sample into the oven. Okay, so this wet samples kita akan letak dia dekat dalam tray. Okay, that is your tin. Saya tulis dekat dekat lab manual tu as tin. Tin tu maksudnya kita pakai aluminium foil. Okay, but here we will use the same method lah. For examples, you have what apa yang ada kat dalam bekas. Kunci sekejap Okay, for example dalam bekas lah, dalam okay ni ajak. Okay, for example dalam bekas, okay. So this is your tin, which is your container to put the samples. So assume this is the wet sample. Hari baru lepas hujan, mesti ada moisture. But actually the correct way to take the sample is not after rain. It should be at bukan dry season lah, it should be at normal condition, biasa-biasa je. Tapi kalau macam ni dia lepas hujan is after rain, so it's not very accurate because it is baru lepas hujan. So what you have to do is you take the moist samples and you put that in your tin or in your container. Okay, first of all you have to wait. Okay, for example, kat sini tak ada penimbang. Okay, for example ni penimbang you. Okay, ni bukan penimbang lah tapi penimbang. And you weight your tin first. Okay, so you dapat the first the weight of the tin. Number 2 is to put the samples. Okay, so this is the A, which is moist soil plus samples and tin. So you weight and you record the weight. Number 2 is then you put the samples inside the oven. Mana pula yang... Okay, so here is the oven and open your oven and put the samples inside. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to control the temperature, which is around 50 degrees Celsius or 80 degrees, 70 degrees Celsius up to 70, but do not exceed 70 because it's not, if usually kita akan buat analisis lain. So analisis lain ni soil tu tak tahan dengan temperature yang terlalu tinggi. Okay, then what will you do is you will leave the soil about 3 to 4 days until it reach a constant weight. Okay, so what does it mean by constant weight? Constant weight ini adalah berat yang constant. How you want to take the constant weight is by weighing your samples. Okay, by taking the weight of the samples 3 times. Okay, for example, you take this morning the weight, then you take at 11 o'clock and you take at 5 o'clock. 3 times the weight are the same, so it is considered it reach a it is constantly dry. Okay, so after you dried your samples and you had your constant weight, okay, for example here is the samples, so you weight this apa ni panggil tin, okay, contoh tin mana, and the samples again, this is the dry samples, the dry weight of samples. Okay, so this is the dry weight of samples and you weight it and you record the weight. Okay, so after this, okay, then baru you gunakan the formula. How you want to use the formula? You have to refer back to the formula. Okay, clear tak? Anyone have questions? Ada soalan tak?
Doktor,
Mas Rizal faham? Ya, ya.
bubur dalam oven tu berapa minit?
Tadi saya dah cakap dah. Berapa minit? Berapa minit tu penting, Nurin. Dia sehingga you capai constant weight. Sebab kita nak dry samples kan? Okay, jadi dry samples ni adalah samples yang dah. So you want to know that your sample is totally dry. That is what we call as when you ambil sample constant weight tadi. You ambil 3 times of the weight and it is constant, meaning that there is no moisture or water anymore. Faham tak Nurin?
Faham kot.
Tak faham kalau ada kod tu. Okay, so I explain first in BM Okay, Nurin macam ni. You guys. Okay, bila you nak kira moisture, haruslah moisture tu dah tak ada kan? Meaning that the water is no water anymore, no moisture anymore in the sample. Okay, contohnya saya kata ni dah kering. What is my panduan yang the soil is dry? Dia kena sampai tanah tu kering. Macam tu je Nurin. Tanah tu kering.
Tapi macam mana kita nak tahu tanah tu kering? Okay, tapi kalau you timbang pagi ni, okay, let's say you put the samples already 3 days. 3 hari dah. Pagi ni you timbang 1 kilo. Sekejap lagi tengah hari you timbang 1.2 kilo. Petang you timbang 1.1 kilo. Tak boleh. That is not considered as dah dry. Tak boleh. Okay, you tunggu lagi sehari. You wait for another 1 day. You dry the samples again another 1 day. So total 4 days. Okay, pagi you timbang. You come and wait at the morning. It is 1 kilo. Then you come at 12 o'clock. 1 kilo. 1.00 kg. You timbang pukul 5 kejap lagi petang. Hari yang sama. 1 kilo. So your soil is confirm it is dry. Faham Nurin?
Maksudnya tu kira sampel tu kasih dia weight tu sama je kan 3 kali?
Ya, 3 kali you have to get the same weight.
So
Maksudnya
while tunggu dia, while waiting for the soil to get the
Dry.
constant weight, dia duduk dalam oven lah.
Dia duduk dalam oven sahaja. The soil will stay inside the oven for 4 days. Because it depends on soil type. If you use a sandy soil, dia senang kering. 2 hari pun boleh. But if you take samples, contoh macam baru lepas hujan tadi, and the soil is clayey, melekat-lekat tanah tu, air dia banyak. So it takes longer time. You tak boleh keluarkan dia sebab nanti in the air, dekat dalam udara kita ni ada moisture. Okay, so it will absorb the moisture. Okay, so to ensure that the soil is dry, you have to take 3 constant weight. 3 times. Make sure it is constant weight. Selalunya kita tak panggil lah 1 kilo. Usually 0.250. 0.250, 0.250. So constant weight. Okay, so macam Nurin cakap tadi, samples tu kena duduk dalam oven. If the soil is not in the oven, let's say hari ni you nak you want to keep the samples, you have to keep the samples in the desiccator. But after the soil dry, drying of soil can be 2 methods. One is inside the oven, okay, cepatlah, faster. But one more method is what we call as air dry. Kalau oven dry, kita panggil oven dry lah. Dikeringkan dalam oven kan. Kalau air dry, kita macam jemur dia. Okay, clear Nurin?
Clear.
Okay, so that the methods should be in your lab reports lah. Apa yang saya cerita tadi. Okay, any more questions? So how you want to calculate the percentage of the water ataupun the moisture is by taking the weight of the samples before dry and after dry. So the important part is to ensure that the soil is dry. Okay, how long that it take, it depends. Ada yang 3-4 hari, ada yang 5 hari. Okay, how you want to know is take 3 times of the weight value. Okay. Ada soalan Iklima?
Nak tanya yang tanah tu kan, soil tu kita ambil tu, lepas tu masa nak keringkan tu kena asing ke? Macam kalau ada akar pokok ke rumput.
Betul. Bila kita cakap pasal soil, dia kena ada. Kalau sikit-sikit tu usually ada lah, tapi susah nak. Kita panggil sieve. We usually sieve the soil lah, tak ada. Nanti next punya lab saya tunjuk. Okay, kita ada macam tapis yang dekat dapur tu. Okay, sieve. Kalau if it's a large roots ataupun plant debris, kita boleh retain dia dekat tapis tu. Then we take yang pass through the sieve je lah yang dekat bawah tu. Okay. So please ensure that when you want to weight the soil, it's only the soil. Tapi kalau sikit-sikit part of soil ada organic matter kan. So consider lah. Okay, so any question more? Sarah, okay?
Doktor,
Doktor boleh ulang tak? Yang label kena label apa?
Apa dia?
Label yang soil tu.
Okay,
Kena
label
label.
yang okay, contoh kan sebab you ada banyak location. For example kat sini saya tulis tanah asal. Okay, sekejap saya buatkan. Bila awak nak balik lab ni? Kalau balik lab kan boleh buat sama-sama seronok. Semua boleh rasa ambil samples. Okay. Sekejap saya siapkan. Okay, so this is how you label your soil. Nampak tak? Ke terbalik Terbalik tak?
Tak, dia macam blur gitu.
Blur. Sekejap. Virtual ni. Saya nak record tak pandai pula. Nampak tak? Sekejap.
Nampak?
Okay. This is the correct way how you want to label your samples. First, you have to have the sample ID. Okay, indicating what is the number of sample. Contohnya ni A5 lah. So, you ada A1, A2, A3. Then, the date. Tapi susunan ni boleh susun balik lah. Saya terlupa nak susun tadi. Okay, so date is 10 of November. Then the depth of the soil. Okay. The depth is 0 to 20 cm. Macam saya cakap tadi, when you take the samples, it's on top. So on top 0 to 20 cm. So another samples might be the same, A5, date same, but the depth is 20 to 40 cm. Maksudnya the deeper, the subsoil. This is what we call as the topsoil. So yang another parts tadi kita panggil subsoil. S-U-B-S-O-I-L, subsoil. Okay, clear?
Dia
Syairin clear, Syairin?
Boleh.
Sharifah? Okay.
Doktor,
So,
kalau
ya,
yang
ya.
untuk subsoil sample tu pun kena letak dalam oven jugalah.
So, semua sampel kalau if you want to dry the sample, you have to put the samples inside the oven.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So the word, kalau if you see my lab manual, there is a word tear kan? Okay, tear tu just kalau dekat dalam weight balance, you kena zero kan dia kan? Okay, meaning that, okay, contoh ni weight balance. Okay, ni contoh. Okay, so you masukkan sampel tanah. Okay, yang ni you timbang dulu, you have to know. For example, this is 0.5 kg, 500 gram, contoh. Okay, so you catat the weight because you want to put the samples inside kan? Okay, then the weight of this and this, berapa? Okay, so yang ni nanti yang basah tolak yang kering sama je lah. Over only the dry sample without the weight of the tin. Okay, clear? Okay, faham? Iza? Mas Rizal? Where is Mas Rizal?
Faham.
You boleh try guna soil agar. Kenapa kita tak guna cangkul? Why did not we just use the cangkul? Because we want to know the depth. The correct way to take the soil is to know your depth. Because sebab bila you nak buat discussion nanti, it's easier. Okay. So I give one situation nanti dekat dalam lab manual. I give one situation. Saya akan bagi result. Okay, so I will give the results of the sebab tadi ambil samples, nanti lab assistant akan tolong keringkan. Okay, dry the samples and I will give you the results of each of the yang AB dalam you punya lab manual tadi So you can calculate, as you can see just now, the soil is from area yang kita ada cover crops atas dia kan, kawasan berumput. So I would like you to make discussion. Okay. Results and the situation. Saya akan ambil 2 sampel lepas ni. Satu dekat kawasan tadi dengan satu adalah kawasan yang terbuka, tak ada cover crops. There is no cover crops, meaning that macam kosong. So the hypothesis is that the top layers should have different value of moisture, correct? Faham tak? Okay, clear? Later I will upload that. Okay. So I think any question more?
Doctor, is it possible if we change the assignment deadline for 12 November?
Assignment?
Yeah.
Assignment or lab report, Aniso?
No, not the lab. The lab is just today, right? For it will be the deadline will be 19th, right? No, the one for this week for the Friday.
You mean the assignment?
Yeah, the Friday one.
No. The assignment you have to follow accordingly because I had give the deadline during the of the release kan?
Okay.
Okay, but for today's lab, the due date is you can check on the iTaklim. I forget when is the date. Bila Nurin tengok tak Nurin date assignment date lab report bila?
19 November. 19 November.
19. Okay. Okay. So if you don't have any questions, we end.
Doktor.
Ya.
Doktor. So kiranya objektif lab kali ni is mencari soil moisture dah kan?
One is to know correct way of sampling the soil. Okay. Number 2 is to determine the soil moisture. Okay. So apa yang saya ajar hari ni, okay, you should put that in your methodology, in your own words on describing the sampling of the methods of soil sampling. Okay, so discuss why you have to take the samples using the soil auger, what we discussed just now. Okay, the second one, which is in the same lab report also, you have to follow the one I give you about the soil moisture.
Doktor,
Yes.
I think kan you give the wrong lab manual lah.
Saya bagi lab
Sebab lab manual yang doktor bagi tu, dia suruh kita tengok horizon of the soil, lepas tu macam rendam soil tu dalam air kot, something like that.
Oh, sorry. I Jadi kan, saya ada 3 lab soil. Sorry, I uploaded a wrong one. Sekarang saya terus upload yang baru. Tadi tak ada siapa pun tegur saya.
Patutlah saya macam confused, kenapa lah?
Okay, sorry. Saya upload terus yang baru sekejap Because I have banyak sangat lab. Saya dah confused dah. Lepas tu semuanya lebih kurang sama actually. Wait, I check first. Soil science kan? This class.
Yes.
Lab 1, ya Allah. Nama pun tajuk soal ekologi you all. Sekejap saya delete, saya upload yang baru. Okay, let me upload first and you have a look so that you understand if you have any question. Turn everything on. Kejap saya check. Patutlah you all tak faham masuk oven ke, tak masuk oven ke ya. Ya Allah. Sekejap no. Sekejap. Okay, let me share with you. Sekejap saya leave. Sekejap. Dah kelang kabut lah ni. Let me share the screen with you so we can discuss about the lab report. Sekejap saya login. Saya nak masuk lagi guna laptop. Saya pakai handphone.
Dr. Mia.
Okay, nampak tak screen saya? Sekejap.